It looks like there's a huge gummed up board, green, white, black on the right hand side, lots of centaurs, probably some populating going on there with a quarters palisade or whatever it's called.
Yeah, we'll give you a rundown of the board.
6 mana, make 2 centaur card from Return of Ravnica. But we have Geoff Mullin on the left-hand side with a Slitherhead, which I told him to cut, which he'll probably sideboard out, after this game because it's pretty bad. A 5/5 Syncretized from what looks like a Scavenge on a Moss Dog, Burning Tree Emissary, and a V2 Ghazi Guildmage, as well as a second Moss Dog in play.
Right, and he's facing off against a much less impressive board of Alex Wyatt, who has Hazda Snare Guard, or Hazda Snare Patrol rather, and 2 Centaur tokens.
Oh, you got it right the first time. Hazda Snare Guard, I think.
Okay. To go with his Simic Hero.
Yep. Or Hazda Snare Squad, not Guard, yeah. So, we were both wrong, as usual.
Yep.
So yeah, here comes a pretty big fatty. That's probably the grossest picture I've ever seen on a Magic card.
Yeah, hopefully we can get on the screen here.
Yeah, it's
Mauve Obzidot,
yeah,
I want to say.
Mauve the Obzidot, and it's just a giant, fat, ugly, grotesque thing with a giant mouth hole in its stomach and a bunch of people jumping into the void.
Please never say the word mouthful to me again.
There we go. Yeah, so something you would see in a nightmare, I think. Just everyone praying to the Obzidot, I suppose, and then deciding to end their life. However, as the flavor text says, even in death, you still got to pay the Orzhov your dues.
Yeah, so. If you look at the flavor of the Orzhov and really read all the flavor text, look at all the pictures, it's a really creepy, depressing guild.
It's dark, man.
It is not the guild that I would choose to belong to.
Yeah. It's kind of odd that there is also white in the guild because, it's pretty bleak.
Yeah, you gotta play by the rules. The rules say you gotta pay your debts.
Yeah, but Mauve the Obzidot is actually a pretty sweet card. A 5-mana 3/3 in its own right is not that bad. And then, you have the ability to play maybe a creature or 2 pre-combat and then sack them to the Mauve Obzidot, giving your entire team either +1/+1, +2/+2. If you have a token generator like Eyes in the Skies or something to just populate, continuously, such as V2 Ghazi Guildmage, which is on the other side of the table, that's something you could use to fuel the Mauve the Obzidot and really make your team unbeatable in combat. But this game looks like it's going to be a grindy one. Even though Alex Wyatt is at 5, and Geoff Mullin does have, V2 Ghazi Guildmage active, making 2 Centaurs a turn at this point, it's probably going to be pretty hard for Alex to come back from that, honestly.
Yeah, it really is. Alex is going to have to rip something to deal with that V2 Ghazi Guildmage right now, or else it's going to overwhelm him.
I mean, even then, he might still just be dead on the swing back. He is at 5. There are a lot of 2 and 3 power creatures in play. He basically just needs to connect with a 3 power creature and a 2 power creature. Alex only has 4 creatures in play, and it doesn't look like a way to generate many more.
Alex plays his land for the turn and is left with only 2 cards. He does have that Clue Stone. Is that a Simic Clue Stone? Or is that a Celestia?
It looks like a Celestia. Oh, no, that's a green, and it's turned sideways. That actually is probably a Simic one. He does have an Azorius Guildgate in play, leading me to believe that he's splashing blue for some card. Right. I guess, which one of us has his list? All right, so you want to take a look at that and check it out. Geoff Mullin here in a commanding position. It looks like he can probably just swing with everybody. There's a slight fear of maybe Fogulate, Drew's Deliverance. That's what I like to call it. And, still has the Slitherhead in the yard that he can, for free make +1/+1 counter on a creature. Not at instant speed. Maybe should have done it before attacking. But an Eyes in the Skies, actually from Wyatt, puts a few creatures into play to block, including a 3/3 that can match up with another Centaur. But it still doesn't look like it's going to be enough.
Right, and I've solved the mystery here. Alex Wyatt has blue in his deck for both the Krasis Incubation, which is a good card, but more importantly, Supreme Verdict.
Oh wow!
Which is
and that does only cost 1 blue, so if he doesn't die this turn, he has a chance to pull it out.
Right.
So it looks like Geoff is actually playing Punish the Enemy mid-combat, targeting Mauve the Obzidot, which is going to deal 3 to Wyatt unless he. Actually, I don't think sacrificing it does anything because it still targets the player.
Yeah, I think it's like Searing Blaze, target and target.
Right. So yeah, it targets 2 things. I think he's handing over to the judge to read. It's just the same as Searing Blaze. 2 different targets. The spell will resolve as many targets as it possibly can. The Eyes in the Skies will make a bird and a Centaur. to try to stifle as much damage as possible. But there are a lot of creatures coming at Alex, and he is going down to 2 life from the Punish the Enemy. The Burning Tree Emissary should be able to get in there for those last 2 points.
Right. And yeah, unless Alex's last card is pretty good.
Yeah, he actually tapped all of his white mana here, which seems odd.
Strange.
He could have sacked his Cluestone at some point and still had white mana available, should he have some sort of white card to do something here. Not sure exactly what he can draw now. Still has potential Druid's Deliverance as now, if that's in his deck. Take a quick peek, and he has a Crow's to Monitor and a Wild Beastmaster as his only mono green cards from Return to Ravnica, so it didn't look like he had a way out. And Geoff Mullin takes the first one.
So Geoff Mullin really wins on the back of that V2 Gaza Guildmage. So powerful.
Yeah.
So frustrating sometimes.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to use this pun, so I'm going to go ahead and do it, just because Geoff may or may not be Mullin next game, down to 6 or 5.
It would be really tragic if he did.
But if he does Mullin or goes a Mullin to 5, I don't know. Whatever. I can't do it twice.
Oh, you can.
Yeah, sure.
I hope he takes 2 mulligans so you can double up on that pun.
Yeah, too bad the other guy's last name isn't Paris or something, and then I could just make more mulligan jokes, but I'll have to mull that one over.
Yeah, maybe
reassess.
Maybe save that one for the next open.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I'll let you finish, but
Oh,
I'm
man.
done. We're done. We're just gonna watch some Magic for the next couple
Todd's
of
actually
minutes.
gonna leave the booth right now. He's gonna leave this with Glenn Jones. Get the puns out of the system.
I'm Glenn Jones. He didn't talk like that. That's my Evan Irwin mixed with Glenn Jones impression.
That's not so bad. Glenn's from Florida. That's sort of close to.
It's
Kentucky.
it's south, but it ain't that south.
Somehow Kentucky is more southern than Florida.
Dude, it's all about the people who live there, and Florida's a big, relocation state for not necessarily like older people, but for older people.
Okay.
We'll just say older people.
Yeah, I mean, when you call your mom for Mother's Day, your number more than likely is going to Florida. Yeah.
I wish I knew the area code. Glenn, what's the area code for various places in Florida, so I can. I guess Miami's a pretty good one, so we're going there soon.
Yeah, end of June,
Yeah.
GP Miami, sponsored by Star City Games. Got a lot of goodies, including that token, which I can't wait to get my hands on.
Token.
Yeah, I'm gonna sleeve them up, get it right in my cube. You're probably gonna be
You're
like
gonna put a-
01 spawn tokens.
No, I'm a 3/3. It says it on the card. I'm a 3/3. You can't use me as a spawn token.
I'm gonna
That's
Sharpie
not
that.
fair.
No, I'm gonna Sharpie that over. You're an 01.
It's not fair.
You sack for mana. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. At least I can always sacrifice myself. Just seppuku. Right in the middle of your cube.
Oh no.
You did this to me.
I would feel so bad.
I made Jeremy laugh. Jeremy, our director, who is basically Grumpy Cat, finally got a smile out of him, so I am quite pleased with myself.
It's tough work, man.
Yeah. So we're shuffling up for Game 2 here at the Star City Games Open in Charlotte, North Carolina. Forgot where I was for a second. We have Alex Wyatt on camera versus Geoff Mullin. Alex lost Game 1, so he's going to be able to choose to play or draw this game. It looks like he's taking a look at his hand first, which means that Geoff is waiting to see what Alex does before he decides to mulligan. Safe to assume Alex chose to play.
Sure looks like it. And Alex is content.
All right, let's see if Geoff goes a Mullin to 6 or 5.
Oh, he's a Mullin.
He's a
boys.
Mullin.
He's a Mullin.
Yeah, all right. So a little bit of my southern accent coming out there just to get that pun across. I am from Alabama, so roll tide.
Yeah.
And hopefully the people at home will know the dominance of Alabama football.
And
But I doubt it.
in case you guys were wondering,
Because they're watching Magic. So what are you gonna do?
kind of mutually exclusive there. Florida,
Not for me.
Florida is north of Kentucky, which is north of Alabama. I think is how it goes.
What are you trying to say?
Oh, nothing.
Dude, there's plenty of teams in the SEC and the Carolinas. You know.
Yeah. No, I don't. But keep going.
No, I'm good. No one knows what I'm talking about anymore. It's fine.
So Alex Wyatt.
I'm just throwing puns back and forth and talking about football. No one cares. Alex Wyatt looks like he's got a couple of his colors online, but
Geoff Mullin with an island. What is that for? It
Good
certainly
question.
wasn't in his main deck.
looks like he has a Demir Guildgate too. He may have just
wow.
changed colors completely. Actually, that's right. He told me that he has a different deck that he sideboards into because his first one You know, it's not great, but it looked fine to me. It had a guild mage and a couple other stuff. But Alex Wyatt here, starting off with a strong voice, call the Conclave, but he doesn't really have a good follow-up, unless maybe he's just going to populate with a random card here, not getting value, but instead just untaps, looking to play a 4-drop, which looks like he peeled Eyes in the Sky.
Ooh, and that's a good card this turn. That'll let him populate the Centaur as well as get a 1/1 flyer.
He? Oh, he didn't have a land to play.
Okay, so maybe not a good top deck for Alex Wyatt.
That's pretty brutal. You know, Consuming Aberration for Geoff Mullin is only a 1/1, mind you.
So far.
But it grows big in a hurry.
Oh, yeah.
Alex Wyatt, if you miss any more land drops, man, it's going to be tough for you to beat that guy. You know, Geoff now, whenever he casts any spell, gets to reveal, you know, does the whole, you know, mill until you hit a land thing. So if Geoff plays multiple spells on the same turn, that's going to grow the Consuming Aberration significantly. He's going to be able to attack past the, you know, creature on Alex Wyatt's side, or Alex has the option to chump block if he really wants to. It seems like a pretty bad proposition.
Yep, and he agrees with you. He's just going to keep on swinging in.
All right, well, let's see what Geoff has to fuel the graveyard here. Looks like he's got a handful of a couple of lands, though. This looks like a Stealer of Secrets, if I'm not mistaken. That picture a little different. Maybe that's just a Windrake. It says flying.
Yeah, I think that's a 2/2 flyer.
Sure, it might just be Windrake. I'm used to the old pictures from Core Set on Windrake. Jesse, if we could get a close-up of that, that would be great, just so I can make sure I'm not calling it the wrong card. I would appreciate it, but I don't want to inconvenience you. Yep, and that is Windrake, 3-mana 2/2 flyer, vanilla, but does mill a couple cards from Alex, growing the Consuming Aberration and putting a significant clock on Wyatt overall.
Yep, so Alex Wyatt drops to 16 life. There are now 4 cards in his graveyard.
Yep.
And actually, interesting to note, Geoff Mullin on the left there, he also has access to Merkelvoss.
Brutally enough, Alex Wyatt has to move to discard. Not only does he miss his land drop, but he grows the Consuming Aberration all the while.
Gross.
But I don't think that Geoff has a combat trick. Or no, I guess he has a spell here.
Okay, looks like a Smite.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a very good one from Alex. One good way to take care of a Consuming Aberration that's for terms of, you know, consuming you, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I think his consuming days are over. Geoff Mullin hasn't played anything yet. I think he's going to have to let this thing die.
You know, the picture from Smite may be a little misleading for what's actually happening here, because I don't think Consuming Aberration wears any shoes.
No.
He has to have a lot of shoes because he's got all those.
10.
He's got all those centipede legs or whatever. Yeah. I actually read a funny tweet the other day about centipedes and how it's funny that they're called centipede just because some guy doesn't know how to count to 12.
Must have been a Magic player.
Yeah. Millipedes, however, they have way more legs than 12, so I can understand that. Not really. People just don't know how to count. All right, so 2 damage from the Windrake puts Alex down to 14. Matching life totals.
Yeah, interesting that Geoff Mullin didn't have another play. He just had to play a Guildgate and pass the turn, leaving Alex Wyatt to crash in for 3 more and draw out of his mana screw. He drew a swamp.
Yep. So the whole time, you know, the Consuming Aberration was growing bigger and, you know, producing some stuff for, or, you know, producing a larger graveyard for itself. You know, Alex Wyatt's been banging in with that 3/3 Centaur. It's got Geoff Mullin all the way down to 8 after 4 swings unblocked. It looks like Geoff drew a card off his Cluestone. Not quite sure what's going on back behind his hand. I'm sure we'll see shortly.
I'm not sure what's quite going on with Geoff Mullin's deck. How many colors is he now?
Just all of them.
That's it?
Yeah, just all of them. He does have 2 on-color guild gates for Esper, and does have the Force in play. King's Pen's Pet.
Wow, so adds an Extort card to the board. That'll help him stabilize against this Centaur here, well, against what's about to be 2 Centaurs.
Ooh, and a bird. Did you know that, in fact, that the bird was the word?
The bird? I was not aware that the bird was the word.
All right, well, haven't you heard?
No.
Bird, the bird of the word. Oh, it's right here, man. You just cut it off. I'll just grab his.
Alrighty, so we got Centaur, Bird, 4 lands for Alex Wyatt, facing down against 2/2 flyers for Geoff Mullin.
Maybe I shouldn't have eaten a whole pizza on break. No, but you know, I'm having a lot of fun, just joking around. I hope you guys don't mind my antics too much. We do have 7 damage coming Geoff's way, putting him down to 1. Seems like the attack with the Wind Drake a bit ambitious. Geoff just passing the turn with the Hands of Binding in hand.
Oh,
I'm
interesting.
not sure what he's got going on, but it's got to be something big here.
Yeah, this is about to be an unlikely win for Alex Wyatt. It looks like it was just about wrapped up for Geoff Mullin with his Consuming Aberration, but he's flooded way out since then.
Yeah, and this is again another example of Scrud versus Flu, or Screw versus Flood, which we did talk about a little bit earlier. You know, normally the player who is mana screwed early in the game, playing against someone who's mana flooded, you know, towards the middle of the game, the person who's mana screwed will eventually find a way to, you know, come back and eventually win. And this is a blowout.
Wow.
That's an Etherize, and Etherize normally not that devastating, but since all the creatures on Alex Wyatt's side were tokens, that's basically just an instant speed Wrath of God.
Yeah, and Geoff Mullin says, I'll kill that one, and that one, and that one.
All right, I think that's a Tithe Drinker and a Kingpin Pet. Kingpin's Pet, I always put the S in the wrong place there. You know, for Geoff. He's at 1 life facing down a creature with Extort, though, so it's going to be pretty rough on him. He's got to find a way to deal with it.
Oh, okay. Swift Justice going to
gain 3 life.
4.
Sending him to 4, yeah. It's impossible to believe that Alex didn't have a spell in hand. I do like this aggressive use, even though he's still dead to 2 spells plus 2 extorts, and you know, Alex is still at a reasonably high life total considering. Geoff just left with 1 card in hand. Alex with a full grip.
Yeah, and let's see what it is. It looks like another Tithe Drinker with Extort, bring the life totals from 10 to 3, and then the attack with the Kingpin down to 1.
Yeah, so Geoff now in the same situation as last turn, except now he's got 2 Extort creatures to fight. Looks like Alex does have a Supreme Verdict in hand, not entirely relevant, but you know, he does have access to it. Should somehow the game get out of reach due to you know, maybe an Armadillo Cloak type effect or something like that, but any spell right here, and that should be it.
Yep. Right, Deliverance from Alex Wyatt will seal that game.
So I'm going to go ahead and use the same thing I used yesterday. This game is the Desader. It's the George W. Bush of games. And so you looked at me like that, or was it Glenn?
I think it was Glenn.
All right, so Glenn looked at me, he's like, why would you say that? That doesn't make any sense. I'm like, because George W. Bush called himself the Desader.
See, up in Massachusetts, we were not supporters of the George W.
Oh, I wasn't either.
Oh, Alabama.
Hated it.
Come on.
I wasn't.
Alabama. Alabama.
You keep doing that, you're going to get hit. I know a few of my friends are here from Bama.
See, politics out of the booth. Politics out of the booth, only Magic cards and SEC.
Yeah, sure. Well, football's basically politics in the South.
Yeah,
so,
that's true, too.
What are you going to do?
Alrighty, so if you guys are just joining us right now, I'm Zach Hall. Todd Anderson is with me in the booth. We're coming to you live from the last round of this sealed deck tournament here. These players, Geoff Mullin, Alex Wyatt, battling for top 16 here at Star City Games Open.
Yeah, unfortunately, most of the slots for top 8 already filled due to intentional draws during the end of the last round. We did have a potential upset with the 9th place jumping 8th place if he did get a win and had a few percentage points turn his way. The 8th place seed is Chris Van Meter, who you will probably remember from last week. He won the Standard Open in Somerset, New Jersey. He was on camera at least one time yesterday, I believe, in the first round when he played against fellow grinder Brian Brown-Duin, playing the same 75 in Joke Reanimator. Today, playing a little sealed deck, Helm and BBD, both looking like they're going to make top 8 unless some tiebreakers change for Mr. Michael Segal, who was the 9th place seed.
That's right, and joining BBD and CVM as likely top 8ers, we have Israel Rivera, Eric Jones, Josh Snyder, Chris Siebert, Justin Kavanaugh, Anthony Kando.
Yep, Anthony Kando, also another employee of Star City Games. Really nice guy. Doesn't actually get to play a whole lot of Magic. We had him on camera earlier. He has a pretty solid red-white and then a light splash blue deck. Had a Boros Reckoner. Lots of action there. He actually, you know, his only loss today, I think, was his camera match.
Yeah, it was.
And then he just went on to tear up the rest of the day. But we have our game starting here. It looks like Geoff Mullin starting off with a black and a white source. Alex Wyatt leading with, I think, a Golgari Guildgate, but that could easily be an Overgrown Tomb. The new pictures just completely throw me off.
I believe it is a Guildgate, and he has a Cruel Warrior. 2/2 can grow into a 5/5.
Yeah, it costs a lot of mana though.
It does.
And I believe a 0/6 flyer is just a little bit bigger than a 5/5 attacker.
You know, Geoff Mullin one-upped them. Said, 06, what you got?
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure you should block. Yeah,
That's what it's there for.
So this is something that's pretty common with people who play a lot. You know, they don't like even bother moving their creature forward if they're just gonna bounce. You know, they just say block. And as you can see, Jeff's life didn't change. Decides to bluff an attack with his hover barrier and lands a Skymark Rock, which is pretty solid against you know, the creatures that Alex Wyatt has in play.
Right, especially if Alex has a draw similar to last game where he's Mana Light. The Skymark Rock is essentially just going to kill a creature every turn if Alex doesn't have the mana to replay it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, killing is a little strong. Like, unsummon, you know, a better comparison since it is bouncing. As long as he is able to attack, you know, unimpeded against Alex Wyatt, he's going to be able to bounce that, you know, Crow Warrior every turn as long as Alex keeps recasting it, or plays various other creatures with just 2 toughness or less.
Right, and, you know, not the end of the world for Alex Wyatt because that Crow Warrior isn't doing anything anyway with the 06 in play.
Ooh, a little bit of alive and well action, gaining 6 life while putting a Centaur into play. Not a bad card. It looks like, you know, Alex really enjoying both sides of that, although does get his Crow Warrior bounced.
Yeah, not the end of the world. Alex Wyatt's not going to be entering the combat phase anytime.
But then we have
soon.
yet another rare
Oh boy.
from Geoff Mullin, and we had this guy on you know, on camera a little bit a while ago. I still don't know his name. It has something to do with
Drinking Minds.
Drinking Minds. Yeah,
He's
Mirko
Mirko
Vosk, and another weird vampire-y sounding name.
What, you would have named your kid
vampires.
Mirko?
I might name it Marco, but Mirko?
Mirko Vosk Anderson.
Mirko Vosk.
That doesn't sound so bad.
Mind drinker. Callie!
Yeah,
should
get
we
Callie
name our
over here.
firstborn Mirko? She's not pregnant, don't get me wrong. Thank God.
And you guys aren't and you guys aren't Eastern European, so probably Mirko off the table.
Dude, my great-grandfather, his name was Slobodan Milosevic.
That's a damn lie. So Skymark Rock, tap, not available for defense. Alex Wyatt's going to tap the 06 and get in. Bluffs a combat trick here.
No, I mean, it's not necessarily even bluffing a combat trick. You know, he could just know that the Mirko Vosk Mind Drinker. I'm not going to keep saying that. I'm just going to say the vampire.
Just call him Slobodan. Okay.
Slobodan Milosevic vampire. You know, he could have blocked the Centaur and just, you know, taken 1 damage from the tapper. But yeah, it looks like he's just going to fly in here, bounce the Tithe Drinker.
Yep.
Yeah.
And more importantly, though, mill until he hits 4 lands, which is going to be a good chunk of Alex Wyatt's deck.
Well, you know, could just hit 4 lands off the top, but he's hit 1 so far. There's 2. There's that Supreme Verdict that could buy him back in. There's a 3rd, and there's a 4th. So, getting the lands pretty quickly. You know, there's still a reasonable amount left in Alex Wyatt's deck. The game hasn't gone on too long, but another hit from that, and his library is going to be mostly depleted. A 3rd hit, I think, and he's dead.
Yep. You know, assuming Alex Wyatt's playing 17 lands, which is pretty standard for this format. He has a Clue Stone, so 17 lands, 5 lands in play. That means 3 attacks from Mirko Vosk, and Alex Wyatt will be out of cards.
Assuming he draws 1 land in the meanwhile, because, you know, you do go until you hit the 4th one, and so if he has, you know, 12 left in his deck, you know, he could still have a few cards left after the last hit. But if he draws a land, he can't really afford 2 more hits from Mirko Vosk, and he really needs to draw a flyer, as Geoff Mullin is still at a healthy 16 life.
Yeah, Geoff Mullin not in any danger right now. His only priority is protecting this Vosk.
That Slobodan Milosevic vampire is really doing some work.
It really rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
It does. Not.
Alrighty, so Hazda gets in, taps the 06, and Geoff Mullin's looking at 6 damage here.
Yeah, but you know, he has a lot of mana up. I assume there's some kind of trick coming. Looks
man.
like Aetherize again, which also acts as a Doomblade type effect for that Centaur yet again. Bouncing, you know, both the creatures that are able to go back to Alex Wyatt's hand and getting rid of the entirety of Alex Wyatt's offense. This game looks really bleak for Alex.
Yeah, even if Alex is able to deal with that Mirko Vosk, the 3/3 Skymark Rock still presents a really fast clock.
Right, and so we do have a Tithe Drinker followed by a Crow Warrior, and it looks like He didn't have the mana left over to pay the extort, since he did use the... Oh God, what's this guy's name?
Hazda.
Hazda Snare Squad's ability. Man, these names are just frustrating.
Just like, you know, come up with another Eastern European name for it.
I'll just call him the Squad.
There we go.
The Squad. All right, so there's 4 more lands. Now, any land draw from Wyatt means that the drinker, Slobodan Milosa Vampire, is going to be a lethal swing.
You know that's going to be a trivia question, right?
Yes, Slobodan
And
Milosa
if
Vampire.
you guys happen to be listening now, be ready.
Yeah, I mean, the trivia is coming soon. It'll probably be like the top 4 trivia question, because I honestly, I don't know. If I do it too soon, then it'll be like, you know, too soon. But
Alrighty, so Alex Wyatt trying to claw back in this game. What does he have? 3 mana.
I'm going to go with a nothing.
Sure. Oh, it looks like a stab wound.
Yeah. Oh, that actually prevents Slobodan Milosa Vampire from doing any damage, and drains Geoff for 2 each turn. He could have a way to bounce his own creature to maybe get rid of that effect. However, stab wound preventing the vampire from dealing any damage, as well as keeping his 2 power from being relevant. Alex Wyatt still at 7 life though. The Skymark Rock really doing a number on his life total. Still bouncing that Cruel Warrior each turn. It's a cruel world we live in when you have to recast your warrior every single turn.
Wow, and the kill spell here. Oh no, liar. Looks like extort, killing the Cruel Warrior, letting Skymark Rock and Syndic crash in.
Oh, Fogulate.
Oh yeah, well, that'll put Alex Wyatt in a good position. This fog here.
Yeah, I mean, he can draw that Supreme Verdict that's in the graveyard somehow.
That's right.
He would be in fine shape as long as he drew his blue mana source as well, which is probably also in the graveyard at this point.
All right.
So he's in bad shape. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. So Tithe Drinker here, hopefully maybe an arrest or some sort of spell to stop the other flyer would be sweet. But it looks like just Tapper Snare Squad. I don't know. I'm done. I'm done trying to pronounce that guy's name. Hazda Snare Squad.
Just call him Hazda.
Yeah, that's not even. That also doesn't even roll off the tongue, so I don't know.
Hazda.
It's like a Mazda.
Actually, it's probably pronounced Hazda. Did you know that Orzhov is actually pronounced Orzhov?
I didn't, and I don't believe it.
Just ask Mr. Zach Hill, who, has a name very similar to yours, yet is a so much different man. Worked for WotC for a while.
Yep.
He was doing commentary for the last Pro Tour, and he said Orzhov multiple times, and people's heads started to explode. And they were all like, why are you saying it like that? And his response was, well, that's how you say it.
Wow. I am still not going to call it Orzhov.
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 Yeah. I don't think there's a letter that sounds like J. So we'll go with SJ.
Okay.
J. So, it's an odd pronunciation, obviously, but I mean, if you look at all the cards from, the flavor of that guild, they all sound very strange. So, a little bit of magic lore there for you.
In the meantime of that lore, though, Geoff Mullin won the match.
Well, that was predetermined.
Yeah, it was.
Well, not predetermined. It's not like you had what's the thing where you have the right to anyone's land?